Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
Say, I know my parents wanted me to be a doctor or whatever, but I feel like a doctor every week when I put my headphones on, like a stethoscope.
Well, you know who else is a doctor? Michael Morbius.
God.
I gotta go. I'm summoned.
We at least should have a few minutes of relief.
Listen, I know you guys are pained. I have seen this movie 3 times. It's a comfort. It's a comfort flick for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's
sad to say.
Here's what I'll say, and we will unfortunately need to talk to this. Hi, welcome to Into the Twilight.
Hey.
I was mad when Cody suggested this, and I will just say right off the bat, hi, this is my apology video. This is 2016 YouTube.
Yeah.
I was wrong about saying why would we need to cover this on our podcast where we talk about gay vampires. This is in fact a movie about gay vampires.
Right.
And
correct.
I was not expecting that. Is it a good movie?
Yeah.
No. Do we talk about things that are good on the show? No.
Rarely.
So,
yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't believe this. I do think that Morbius is related to the content that we cover on the show.
Yeah, it does unfortunately track.
And that's really fucked up to say. So hi, welcome into the Twilight.
Hey,
if you haven't seen this movie, honestly, it's fine. Don't.
Yeah, honestly, don't. You're good.
It was so long for no reason.
Yeah.
But also there's a strange voice. We asked a ghost to join us for this.
The ghost of Michael Morbius.
A really well connected to the culture ghost who's actually alive. It's interesting. We'll have them explain. We have a fantastic expert. And it's odd because we are not experts in anything. So we needed to bring someone on to help us understand what we had just consumed. Kelsey, I'm honestly, and I don't say this frequently or ever, I'm so comforted by the fact that you're here to help me dissect all of the notes that I wrote while watching this, which was mostly just a lot of question marks and just raw. I wrote that a lot.
Oh, amazing. I'm so happy to be here. I'm Kelsey Weekman. I'm a ghost. I am our nation's most reluctant Morbius expert, which it's like the TikTok sound that was like, I started watching this as a joke, but I don't think it's a joke anymore. Like, I genuinely know so much about this dumb movie, and not just the movie, but all of the chaos surrounding it. Yeah. So I'm happy to be here to use this knowledge for something other than letting my brain rot inside my own head.
Sure. Kelsey, for anyone who has the audacity to not know who you are and your spectral form, could you tell everyone who you are, what you do, and the memes on your phone?
Oh my gosh, yeah, of course. Let me start by saying I am a reporter for BuzzFeed News and I cover internet culture, so anytime there's...
The first ghost paid for by
Right,
BuzzFeed.
Yeah, which actually is kind of surprising because there was a whole, ghost hunting show that they used to do, but they refused to employ
put anyone on their payroll.
Right. Yeah. And thank God for the union because this is
our contract protects from office ghosts but also protects the rights of ghost workers, which is
so
great.
I do get paid, which is maybe a first for ghost culture in general.
Ghost rights, yeah.
So it's my job to know just the absolute dregs of the internet, and not only the big things that are happening but also the worst things that are happening, including Morbius. And I have been asking people what their meme folders look like on their phones.
Yeah.
And of course that means I have to reveal mine, and I have 2 folders side by side, and one is pictures of my dog and the other is just memes. And there are 6,554 pictures of my dog, and then there are 8,577 memes.
Whoa.
So That's what I'm working with. I think there are some that are just loose and floating around, and that's going to be a good Virgo season task for me to straighten out. But
right.
Many of them are Morbius.
We ironically did talk about this a couple weeks ago, I think, when Cody and I had discussed back in the days of Tumblr how we would have our gifts organized. And now that has continued. It hasn't left us in our personalities, and now it's on our phones. So I'm glad to see that your folder structure is very similar to mine. Cody, could you explain your meme folder structure for me, please, and thank you?
Oh, what structure? You think I have a folder? It's chaos, baby. It's all, my camera roll is a nightmare. I need to do something about it, but I refuse. Right. I don't want to. I don't have the time, and I don't care enough. And usually, if I'm looking for a meme, I know how to Google it, so I will just like Google it and like maybe copy paste from Google Images or just save and immediately delete it again, and then use it that way. So because the image search feature within my phone is bad, so I can't. It's hard unless there's like specific text I'm looking for that I know is in it. Like if I'm looking for like a vibe or like a picture, like I can't search for it. Which is why I should have it in a folder, but I don't. So that's on me. That's my bad.
That's why we brought you here today, to talk to you about being able to search by vibe in our folder structure.
Yes. Sharks, please invest. Give me $1 billion.
Currently the shark that's on my desk right now in the form of my cat is snoring during this presentation, which I find personally offensive, but that's fine.
Right, yeah, it's not looking good.
It's not going great.
It's not promising.
Kelsey, could you tell me, in your searches, in your work across all planes of existence, has there been a happy thing that's happened to you or that you've been enjoying recently?
I'm sorry this is work related, but it is all consuming.
Damn. The work never
stops. Yeah, especially when you just monetize
capitalism,
when you've
iron grip.
Monetized your leisure, aka when you become an internet reporter. There's no line between like work and fun. But I became very obsessed with a feud that was going on between a bunch of different Christian meme pages recently, and it started because the admins of one stepped down and people didn't understand why, and so everyone else was up in arms thinking that they had been quote unquote pushed out by someone corporate who had bought the account, but they literally through my sneaking around on the internet, I found that they literally were just bored and they didn't want to do it anymore. And so then all of these really kind and thoughtful but very worked up Christian memes had to step back and apologize for being so aggressive towards the @memes4Jesus Instagram page. And so watching the cycle of, sin and forgiveness unfold within the context of really bad meme accounts has been bringing me a lot of joy. I wouldn't recommend you follow any of these accounts, but you should know they exist.
Damn.
Yeah.
That is almost as wild as I feel like, maybe it was a month ago, time is fake, it's fine, as when I found out via, I think it was you, about all of the Mormon TikTokers that were swingers.
Right.
And it was just that feels like an auto-generated
It is
sentence.
a Mad Lib, for sure. It's not...
Right.
None of those words are... Well, they are actually... some of them in the Bible.
Right.
That phrase needs updating because of how much, religious culture that I cover, but...
Right.
Amazing. Well, there's so much happening there. But I'm glad that you were able to laugh about it. Cody, what is your happy thing this week?
Every once in a while, I'm allowed to have just a basic
this is a good
bitch
start.
Happy thing. You know what I mean? That's my right. Sometimes I'll have something fun and exciting. Sometimes it'll be a little bit more chill. And that's my truth. Yeah. I had a fall beverage for the first time this season, because fall beverages are already happening.
Listen, this is coming out in September. You can own it.
Right, it's coming out in September. It's currently end of August, which seems
Don't
early.
tell them that. They don't need to know.
Again, yeah, this is fine. Everything is going according to plan.
Like every podcaster, we record these the day they're released. That's obviously how these things work.
These are all live. This is
right,
leave
it's
your
a radio
comments
show.
in the chat. But we were out doing, you know, our little hot walks yesterday, being like, let's do a little mental health walk. Hell yeah, we're doing it. We got things to do. And we're like, fuck yeah, let's get a little coffee. Oh shit, already pumpkin stuff. You know what? I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the vibe. That's my truth. And it was delicious. I'm very excited for fall beverages. Fuck the Starbucks ones, but Dunkin' knows what's up. And I'm having a great time. I welcome the silly, frivolous fall beverages in all of their forms.
I welcome fall.
And the end of summer. Yeah, I welcome, famously,
yes.
Fuck summer.
Agreed.
For real.
I mean, I know that, like, your whole brand, Cody, is Island Time, but as we have said...
Right, but like as a state of mind, not in a physical capacity.
But there's nothing good about being sweaty.
Correct.
So, I'm...
Yeah. But yeah, go get yourself a little pumpkin beverage, if that's your calling. I'm a big fan. How are you doing, my friend?
Honestly, I'm feeling very fall as well. My bones need fall.
Yes.
So, I'm not looking forward to, like, bringing out my sad lamps, plural. But I'm very excited about that. My happy thing this week is... one, executive function, but primarily in the form of buy nothing groups. Primarily, I'm welcoming Virgo season with open arms. And in the form of that, I've had a massive pile of things that I've been trying to declutter. And oftentimes, I do not have the executive functioning, usually, to do all of the organization that's needed to put those on my buy nothing group, just because, like, you know, you have to do all the photos, you have to do the editing, you have to do the caption, like, sorry that I don't run an Etsy shop. Like, usually by the end of the day, it is easier just to take those to a local donation center. But I was like, you know what, I have a little bit of energy, let me just try it. And I was able to successfully give a lot of the items that I had to people in my neighborhood. And one that is so much more fulfilling than just providing those to a donation center where theoretically they go to my community, but oftentimes no.
Yeah.
And even better, they get out of my home and I don't have to leave. So great. Love that. So I'm just very grateful that these things exist, and hopefully they will get off of Facebook soon, so that I don't have to use that. But I'm just very grateful that they exist, and that's very nice. I like that.
Hell yeah.
It's hard to find free things in this world now.
Yeah, in this economy?
Yeah.
Come on now. But, like, the fact that there hasn't been an actual replacement for both buy nothing stuff on Facebook that's not like Nextdoor and also like the events tab in Facebook, because those are the only good and usable things on Facebook, and they don't exist in any other place. And I feel like they should just have their own thing at this point. Like,
I agree.
What's the tea? What's going on?
I know that a lot of the buy nothing projects are trying to move off of, like, onto their own interface, that they don't have to be part of Facebook. Which I love that very much. I think the issue that I find is so many people are already, like, enmeshed in that that it's like you are asking people who are already, a lot of these people are very bad at technology, and now you want them to do a different thing. That's not going to work.
No, that's hard for sure.
But I just think there's something very pure to, like, a lot of the things I was giving away. Sure, I could have been like, give me $5 for this. And it's like, no, I'm not. I don't want to fucking haggle with these people. Just, like, get it out of my house. And especially right now, like, in this economy, no. Like,
just get out.
I would rather just do the deed of, like, giving it to someone that needs it than have $5. No, thank you.
Right.
So this is an ad for the project Buy Nothing, but it's not an ad.
Right. It's
like,
been sponsored.
What the fuck does that do? Just use them. They're great. I like them a lot.
You love to see it.
Yeah. More importantly, Kelsey, I'm on pins and needles right now.
Good.
I'm asking you to unleash your spectral ghostly jaw and to tell me about your Twilight backstory.
Yeah,
Please,
okay. Well, this is a doozy and a half because I as an extremely Christian Baptist religious child, I was not allowed to consume a lot of content from Harry Potter to That's So Raven to like anything magical or anything that would suggest that there's something more powerful than God, etc., etc. So when all of my peers were reading Twilight, I was vaguely not allowed to. I think more than anything, I just assumed I wasn't allowed to. But of course, I was surrounded by it, so I knew everything about it all the time. And then, as I'm sure many other people happened upon it on Tumblr, I did as well. And then that just kind of made me interact with it in a worse way, which is to say I was like I was being a bit of a pick-me about it. I was like making fun of it and like, you know, making fun of everything possible at that time as a very bitter child. But something happened when I was in like when the Eclipse movie came out. I don't even remember what year that was. I think I was in high school. But my friends wanted to go see it, and there was a guy I liked wanting to go see it, which, you know, anyway, so I decided to go, and I watched it, and I was like, this is bad, but it is so fun that I would like to read all of Twilight, so that by the time the, like, last two movies come out, I can appreciate it with everyone else. So I did, and I blogged about it, and I ended up really genuinely really liking it and starting to read a lot more like romance content. But when I was talking to my mom trying to figure out if she actually had banned me from Twilight, she was like, I actually think it had a good message. And that's when I remembered. Yeah. That's when I remembered the whole virginity thing. So.
Yeah. Because, like, fundamentally, Twilight, a religious text.
Yeah. Since it is, you know, Mormon fan fiction.
Right.
Something or other.
Right.
Yeah. But I did end up becoming, like, a really big Twilight fan, which started ironically, but then it's very earnest. Like, I really do love Twilight. I know everything about it. Oh, and you can't see, but I'm wearing my one of two Robert Pattinson shirts that I own. This one says, I think the Twilight movies are awesome. If you don't agree that makes me cool and sexy, don't freaking talk to me. I am not kidding. And then a picture of Robert Pattinson.
I also own this shirt.
Yes!
That's very good.
Yes! The Bug Girl.
There are dozens of us.
The Bug Girl shirt. But I love wearing it around my neighborhood and having people either really understand or, like, violently dislike it. And that's
It's a real litmus test. Yeah.
That's Brooklyn for you. But yeah, big Twilight fan. Very glad it came back.
This is very powerful. A story that we often hear a lot of, I was not allowed, or I thought that I was not allowed to read these, and then, oops, I found out these are actually all the values that I was
right.
taught.
Well, I think that another value is that they didn't like how, like, all-consuming Bella's love for Edward was. Like, it wasn't just vampires or of the devil. It was like, you shouldn't love anything more than God. And then it became like, you know, sacrifices and stuff for a parent. So maybe that is a good picture of love. I don't know. I'm hoping my family never wades into the the waters of Twilight, so it can continue to be entirely mine.
Yeah.
I always found it very interesting when folks read Twilight with their parents, because that is that's a level of relationship with a parental figure that I will never understand. But two, Twilight always felt very, not like adults can't read YA, but like it always felt like a very, like, this is my experience. Like, I'm gonna read this and stay up all night in my room reading this. And the idea that, like, you have your parent, usually it was like a mom, in another room also reading it, is just like you're just gonna, like, discuss this together. Like, it was just like, oh yeah, let's talk about the fact that like he breaks the headboard. Like what? Okay, that's a very interesting experience that y'all are gonna share.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whereas the vast majority of the conversations that I usually find people discussing is like this was a shared bonding between friends that they would have, whether that was online or like in person. And so to do that with a parent, I find very interesting. Sorry, I'm distracted. One of my neighbor's children is using Swiffer mop as a sword, and I think that is the coolest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, come on the pod. Tell us your story.
I know.
What do you know about Twilight?
Yes, what is your relationship to Twilight? When Twilight theoretically like came back with Midnight Sun in 2020, did your feelings change at all? How did you feel when you read that, if you did?
I did. I read it immediately. I read it with the hunger that I read the other Twilight books, to be honest. All one night on my phone. I didn't change. First of all, I love it. I love it when there's a point of view switch and you get to hear from the other side of anything ever. So it was delicious to me, but no, I mean, I still really love it. Like, I think I've pretty solidly loved Twilight for, since, like, 2014 or so. On, you know, as old as my Skype picture is how long I've loved Twilight in earnest. I watched the movies after I read the book again, and did you guys watch Breaking Dawn Part 2 in the theater? Because I remember literally screaming at one point. I was so into it and so shocked by what had happened. But yeah, no, the sincerity,
it changed me as a person.
Yeah.
I will say too, lest we forget, it's a crucial Kelsey detail that she reads like literally a book a day.
Yes,
which
true.
is bananas. I just think for the record, in terms of I can imagine the fervor of that.
Which I thought it was really funny how I'm on this podcast not for a book reason, because that's usually why people ask me to do things.
Sure.
But it's an honor. I feel like I've been truly recognized for all of my complexities, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's critical. I mean, it makes sense though, right? Because ghosts don't sleep, so you have to do something to fulfill that
gotta
time.
fill the time. Yeah, of course.
Right.
Correct.
No, I get it. I mean, there's so much that you and Edward have in common, right? You could talk so much about books.
So true. Oh, love him. Team Edward forever.
Oh, I love that. Speaking of books, quick note for friends of the pod, our family that's here. I have a few quick updates about Rochelle Mead. One, I realized that I don't think that we've ever talked about her Twitter account before.
Yeah.
She recently posted about the trailer, which based on the information that Cody and I had shared before, I thought that her feelings about the show specifically with like Peacock and Vampire Academy, like she was not going to be promoting it at all. Mm-hmm. So I was very surprised about that. She had shared on August 18th, she was like, I'll give my thoughts in the coming days, because she has seen episodes 1 and 2. So interesting. Very interesting. The other thing that I think is worth noting is that Rochelle Mead on her Twitter bio notes. I love this woman, and it explains so much more about why every time that I read these books, ask who has hurt her.
Yeah.
The third thing that she has listed in her Twitter bio is that she is a Scorpio.
Well,
so
there we go.
I just wish that when these books have been recommended to us, I had been told that, because I would not have said so many times, what the fuck is wrong with you, Rochelle? I would have just said like, oh, she's a Scorpio. She knows how to hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
So that explains so much.
Crucial information.
Start watching the show.
Yeah.
We do need to get into Morbius, and I'm very scared.
We've delayed it long enough. We can't do it anymore.
So, Kelsey, you did say earlier that you've watched this 3 times.
I
Could
have.
you explain
Yeah.
what was the first viewing like for you?
Well, okay, so I have a like unlimited movie pass subscription. I used to live across from a movie theater, and I would just go there like 3 times a week and watch everything. Like I would just watch everything. So this happened to fall under the category of everything. The first viewing in the theater, in the front row, no one else around. My husband was there. Hilarious. I honestly think it was the most fun I've had in a theater this year, because we were just like laughing maniacally the entire time, and I guess there were some other people there. Everyone else was laughing too. We were all in on the joke. So what's funny is that I would never encourage someone to support this movie financially due to Jared Leto being a, terrible person.
Right.
But it was very fun. It was just a good time. At no point did I ever expect what was going to happen next. And I also couldn't look away physically because I was in the front row, because that's where the reclining seats are, to be clear. So had to do that. And yeah, it was a really completely wild time. And I walked away opening weekend, of course, thinking that people were going to see it because it was so much fun, but then I found that other people did not enjoy it as much as I did. So that was painful, but it happens.
And then the second and third time, was that when it was re-released?
No, I did not go back into the theater to see it.
Okay.
Fortunately, I did watch it a while after, just for funsies, and then I watched it last night. And I was gonna watch it by myself, but my husband was like, I want to watch it again. And so we watched it while we built a table, because I just moved and there's infinite furniture to build. But I was not paying attention as much as I was the first 2 times. But I would say, I had a good time.
That is so many hours
of Morbius
to this to Mr. Michael.
Doctor.
Dr. Michael Morbius.
Kelsey, you only have so many precious hours on this planet, you know what I mean? And you spent so many of them watching Morbius.
Once you've seen it 3 times, you can feel the reshoots. Like, you can physically feel when they had to go back and be like, wait. Let's actually make it so it opens like this. There's just, you can see where things have been rearranged.
We have to start with the bats and then go back.
Right.
Just to make sure that you really get that this is about vampires.
Yeah.
Right.
I absolutely agree with you. There was absolutely no time in this that I knew what I was signing up for. Mm-hmm. And that started from the jump, because I did forget that this was a Marvel thing. This was a comics thing.
Sure.
And then I was like, oh fuck. So that's why this is long. Like, from the jump, I was like, damn it, because then that means that I have to sign up for like 3 end credits sequences, and I was like, god damn it.
Yeah. When the titles or the credits started going, and there was like still 12 minutes left of this motion picture, I was not feeling very confident.
And that's so much more tolerable when you're at home and you can fast forward through it.
Right.
It is so much worse when you are in a theater, which I don't even remember what those feel like anymore.
Yeah.
But like in a theater, it's like my bladder's full. Everyone is starting, it's like in a plane, everyone's starting to stand up, and it's like, what? You all chose to come here. You know that there's going to be like 3 things here. Why are you standing up? Stop. Like, I hate this. One thing, there's so many things. One thing that annoyed me a lot about this is that I think that the buy title cards were too pretty.
Yeah.
For Jared Leto. And that made me angry.
Right. It made it look like a very different movie. You know what I mean? Like, it looked like it had like a very fun girl boss mentality going on. And I was like, okay, I can fuck with this. This
I thought it was
Morbius.
gonna be like Tron.
Yeah.
And
like,
it's not.
Like, this is like she, they Morbius. Like, okay, I'm in for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the trailer for the first time in okay, so the movie came out in April. I remember seeing the trailer for the first time before another movie in January, and I was like, I have never heard of this person. I don't know what a Morbius is, and it was scary. It was really scary. It was all the monster scenes, and there were just scary movements and stuff, and I was like, did they make a horror movie? And of course this movie comes out immediately after the really charming Spider-Man movie that everyone loved and saw a million times and thought was so great, and then it's what the heck is a Morbius? So of course you've got
it doesn't help it's the ugliest name possible. It's got terrible mouthfeel, terrible energy.
It's so scary too.
Yeah.
The other thing that is very bad about this movie is very dependent on me feeling sympathetic or caring at all about a character who is Jared Leto.
Mm-hmm.
It is Dr. Michael Morbius,
yes,
but who is being acted by Jared Leto, and therefore to me is Jared Leto.
Right.
And therefore I can't care. I don't give a fuck. I hope this dude dies. I was hoping, and not 10-year-old Michael. 10-year-old Michael I would die for. That child actor was great. I love that kid. But Dr. Michael Morbius, I hope got hit by a truck. I don't give a fuck about this dude.
Right.
Because you can also tell that they didn't know how to characterize him, because at the beginning with the bats, he's super serious, smart, tough, and then he will make a little joke, and then he is so moral that he won't accept a Nobel Prize, and then he's we have to go on international waters so that I can put bad DNA in myself. there's the characterization does not make any sense at all. If you had to describe him, you couldn't. There's no adjectives.
And the fact that it's Jared Leto and he's acting like Keith Raniere the whole time.
Right.
Homie?
Literally. Also, I don't think Michael Morbius knows how bats work. Is a question.
Absolutely not.
That's a thing I thought often in this movie. Because there's one moment where he's in the tube or whatever, and the bats are all
the tube.
The tube. And they're all swarming around him, and he's he's about to come basically because he's feeling so jacked on bat stuff. And he has an internal monologue or a narration that's these creatures would tear anyone else apart, but me, they welcomed me. And I'm hey, sorry dude, bats? What? Excuse me, you're talking about bats is what you're saying. Hey man, what?
Yeah, he was they're my brothers, we're family.
Right.
And all I could think about every time that they showed the tube TM is that he had to go to one of those flightless zero gravity vendors. And they were cool, what's your lab do?
Right.
What are you trying to open in this hospital? And he was no.
Do you have a permit?
And they were aren't you Dr. Michael Morbius? You make artificial blood? And he was no, you don't understand what this is for.
You wouldn't get it.
Unfortunately, I have to drop some more lore, which is that when I was a kid, I was obsessed with bats.
Why does that not surprise me?
Right. Yeah, that's tracks.
It's every fucking Christian kid. It's always something.
It is. But I was so obsessed with bats that I used to interject them into every single school project. I had all these stuffed bats, these books on bats. I was a bat expert, and
you couldn't just be a fucking horse girl.
No,
would have been too simple.
No, I was a bat girl, which ripped that movie.
Yeah, rip.
But I know, even from my scholarly studies on bats, I know that even vampire bats are not really interested in human blood at all. So the entire conceit of the movie has been thwarted by this knowledge I got when I was 9 years old. But
I'm convinced that Dr. Michael Morbius got his doctorate at University of Phoenix.
Right.
He's not. It's not real, right? Because everything that he does is funded by Milo, his lover.
Right.
Yes. And here's another great thing is that when he's 10 years old, he his friend starts dying because he's got something going on with the machine he's hooked up to cure his blood disorder, to keep it stable or whatever. And he picks up a pen and is like, oh, I know exactly what's right or what's wrong with this. Let me fix it. And then pulls out the spring from the pen and uses it to fix the machine and fixes this guy, saves him from dying. And then immediately his, like, you know, orphanage daddy doctor guy is like, you are so smart. Oh my gosh, we have to send you to medical school right now. When what he just did was like electrical engineering.
Right, not medicine.
Not medicine at all. So, of course, 10 years old, I sent him to the University of Phoenix. And
he was in there for so long.
Listen, it takes a long time to get your degree. Okay, some people think,
right.
You know, it's a process.
There is so much, and I have not read the comics. I don't give a single fuck. But what I wish that the movie had done, if you want me to care about these characters, because Dr. Michael Morbius and
his God-given name,
Lucian, who I don't want you to forget, his name was Lucian, and Michael was like, no, your name is Milo.
Because there have been several other people named Milo, and he just named him that, and then it's stuck forever.
And then Milo was like, yes, my name is Milo. Hello? Right. Okay.
Like, you're so right, King. Like, that is my name for sure.
Okay. They have a blood disorder. Mm-hmm. They never say what the blood disorder is.
No.
And then the way that they present Michael and Milo, which, first of all, there's a lot of M's happening here. Do you think they ever went to the M&M store in New York City and got M&M's with their names on? By the way, I couldn't stop thinking about that. But
that's in the credit sequence, Allie.
Throughout the movie, before they take the vampire bat blood,
right,
is they present them like they have. It was very similar, kind of, to like spina bifida. The whole time I was like, first of all, why did we not get disabled actors? Like, I don't understand this. But I don't understand what this blood disorder is. Why are they testing this on children? Like, I don't understand everything about this, like, these disabilities here.
Right.
I have questions.
Hello? It's a very not great look at disability in any regard, and also just a lack of any sort of understanding of what disability can even look like or feel like. So that's not great, Bob.
I was having the hardest time trying to be like, homies, I'm trying here to be in it with you,
right?
But the way that you all are, the way that this is written, I don't, especially because, and this was pretty early on in the movie, but the two of them are using their mobility aids. They're walking side by side in New York on these busy ass streets, and you want to tell me that neither one of them are going to get harassed?
Yeah.
Hello?
Come on now.
That's absolutely inaccurate. Right. That's not how this works. Anyways, it's very confusing. But I do think that the way that they played this, and I don't know if this was on Matt Smith, who did so much for this for absolutely no reason.
He was carrying this movie.
Or if it was on Jared Leto, but the way that they played this, it was very romantic for no reason.
Mm-hmm. Listen. I have a theory. I think
I want to know your theory.
Because first of all, when I was watching this, I was like, I am begging on my hands and knees for Matt Smith to get a better agent, because I've seen him in so many bad movies, and I think he's very good and charming as an actor. But then I kept watching, and I'm like, oh, he is, like, putting the work into this movie for no fucking reason. He's doing so hard. He is smiling. He's, I think, having the most fun I've ever seen him in his entire life in this motion picture. God. And it made me think, because I was like, man, I've seen him in some terrible movies, both of them very gay for various reasons. And I think he's just he's at its best when he's playing gay people in very terrible movies. Because he was in the Mapplethorpe, like, biopic, whatever. Same. That was terrible and, like, barely saw the light of day. Terrible, but he was, you know, gay and great in it. And then Morbius, which is a fun departure. But I think he just wants to play gay people in bad movies. And honestly, Go off, King. You're having a great time, and I was very excited every time he came back on screen because I just wanted to watch him in Morbius and nobody else and nothing else.
In the like giraffe horse room
when he just dances
after he had
when his little dance.
What the fuck?
Hello.
I love that.
I want that on loop in my brain, baby. Are you kidding me? That's serotonin.
There was no reason why he was going this hard. I feel like the casting agent watched some of the early seasons of The Crown and was like, I need Matt Smith and then I need the original King. And for some reason got both of them in Morbius.
Right.
Because Daddy Surrogate Doctor is the OG King from The Crown. And I didn't realize it until they put both him and Matt Smith in a scene. And I was like, what the fuck? Why are the two of them in this? It's so confusing. Speaking of casting, by the way, I feel like if they had a bigger budget, which seems weird because this already feels like it had a really big budget, they would have gotten Gal Gadot as the assistant.
Stop.
Mm-hmm. That was probably the dream.
Like that. I feel like the way that they cast her, I feel like they really wanted her.
Yeah.
I love that character too because it's like, name one thing about her. You can't.
No.
You can't.
No.
She has a cat and she's a doctor.
Yeah, she has a job. That's it. That's all she can.
No, I don't understand why we were made to think that Dr. Michael Morbius cares at all about her.
No.
When he was she was just an employee.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. That part when he like roars in New York at the end and like tries to save her when it's like, homie, that's not how this works. You know she's gonna change. Is very weird to me.
I will say I rented this movie at
Same
10 a.m.
I'm not gonna buy this.
I watched this at 10 a.m. yesterday morning because I watched it before work and I didn't want to subject my partner to Morbius because I'm a good person. And I was looking at like the thing, like the whole like page of like renting it or whatever. And if you bought this movie, which I did not because I like myself, and I don't need to own Morbius, there are 12, and I count 12, bonus features.
What the fuck?
Oh, I have to go buy it now.
And lucky for you, Kelsey, it is on sale for $8.99, so you can just buy this bad boy if you would like. And the titles really give you no inclination of what these features are. Like, some of them are pretty basic in terms of, like, outtakes and bloopers. Great, got it for sure. Lights, camera, action. What? Okay. Defining the anti-hero. Doing the stunt work. The good, the bad, the ugly. Nocturnal Easter eggs. From human to vampire. Visual effects, lore, universe, and one that's just called Stain, which I don't know what that is in reference to, but that can be yours if you buy the digital copy of Morbius.
I physically cannot continue to support Jared Leto in any way, but this movie is just it's so funny. Like, why does he leave a purple trail behind him when he flies? Like, it's every time I watch it,
it's so beautiful.
The physics of these vampires was one of the most infuriating parts while watching this, because it made me so mad. Because if you are getting this, if they are theoretically mixing the DNA of a vampire and a human, in what fucking world would that allow you to be able to jump up an entire stairwell and avoid a bullet? And you're turning into because there'd be parts when Dr. Michael Morbius, is he just Morbius when he's the bad? I don't understand. Anyway.
His superhero name is Morbius, or villain.
Okay.
But that
so Morbius
is why?
Right.
And part is when he's Morbius form, he's becoming Cell, he's just I don't know how to explain it. He's and that's not how vampires work.
Right.
You don't just become cells in the air. Right. And that's very confusing from a physics space, because when when bats are flying, They have wings, first of all.
Sure.
So if you're not going to have
Famously,
wings,
yeah.
fine. But they're still, you can still see them in the air. They're not just like zzz, whatever that is.
Well, I think they're trying to imply science. They're like, oh, it's a science thing. Don't worry about it.
You wouldn't get it.
I counted maybe like 4 sciencey words in the entire movie. One of which was like anti-coagulant, and you could tell Jared Leto was so excited to say that.
Like he really it was got off on that.
Delicious in his mouth. I know it. But I loved it.
The second one was spicy Cheetos. I know that.
Why was he randomly funny? It made no sense.
It was
when
so
he was mean
good.
to Cosmopolitan, that was actually probably my favorite line. When he was like, "This
The third one was Casio.
Yeah.
Because they kept really wanting us to know about that fucking watch.
Yep.
And then the fourth one obviously was Venom.
Yeah,
because
those are all science.
That is obviously
Important.
related to the lore that they're trying to build here.
Listen, if you didn't spend 20 years at University of Phoenix, then maybe you would understand the science terms here, okay? It's another
sorry
realm of
that
thinking.
I didn't spend my adolescence and adulthood in an academy.
Yeah, right.
And I went to public school.
Yeah, listen.
Like a plebe.
Sorry, you'll never be Morbius. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you.
I will say the Venom part really fucked me up until I got to the end credits, and then I was like, oh, they're doing the fucking multiverse thing, and everyone's gonna start coming over.
I hate it.
I don't think that Tom Holland and Jared Leto can be in the same place at once. I
don't think they're gonna do Tom Holland.
That has to be in Tom Holland's writer, right? Of nothing involving Jared Leto. Right. I can't be within 50 feet of this man.
From the 12-minute ending credit explainer video that I watched, the guy, I think his name was Brad or Bean or
Bean.
John or something. Bean, yeah, Bean.
Dr. Bean, Michael Morbius.
Yeah, it was Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean said. Mr. Bean said that it's either going to be Andrew Garfield because of how No Way Home ended. Damn, we should put a big no spoilers. Or Miles. They're going to do a live action Miles based on how No Way Home went.
Yeah. Again, protect him at all costs.
I don't want them near Jared Leto either.
I don't want any of these boys.
Yeah. But because of how... Okay, so when I looked up Morbius before I watched this, I was like, damn, Michael Keaton's gonna be in this and Matt Smith? Fuck yeah, dude. And then it wasn't until the end credits that I was like, where the fuck is Michael Keaton?
Right, where?
And then I saw this, and from when Mr. Bean explained this in his 12-minute video, apparently Morbius and Michael Keaton's Vulture guy are joining up to be the I think he called it the Sinister Six.
Oh, wait, okay. It just clicked for me because...
With Madam Web.
Yeah, because Michael Keaton was in the Tom Holland movie, so if he's in a different universe, he won't have to be. Okay. Woo!
Yeah.
Which, apparently, the director of the movie had to explain from, a 50-tweet thread of Q&A. Because they cut it out of the part with Michael Keaton was supposed to be in the actual movie, and they put it in the end credits. That's what Mr. Bean said. So now I know what the Sinister Six is, and so now fucking Adam Scott and Dakota Johnson's movie Madam Web actually is related to this movie.
Interesting.
That's what Mr. Bean says. Anyway.
Yeah. Wow. So now we have a Dakota Johnson in here.
Yeah. I know.
So now we're getting strings are crossing.
Yeah. Anyways, this movie was weird. And what I learned out of it is that the FBI is really bad at their job, even when it's Tyrese Gibson. So don't trust the FBI.
Yeah.
It count even when it's the guy from Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They all count.
And don't go on to international waters.
Yeah. It's a good lesson.
And if you're gonna,
sure.
don't bring your origami with you either. If you're gonna do it internationally.
Yeah.
And if you ever see someone in a glass box and they're using blood to write blood on there and they underscore the blood, just leave them in there.
Yeah, it's probably just a bad. They could probably figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, if you ever see two men who are like roaring at each other in a subway platform, just don't. Just hey, maybe don't.
Yeah, don't intervene. You know, yeah, let them figure it out.
Yeah.
No need to get involved.
Yeah. Just don't. Yeah, it's probably for the best. I think one of the things I've always learned when watching Sony and Marvel movies about New York is I always just think about the public. I'm always just like, damn, I always really feel for New York in here. Mm-hmm. Like, why would you live here at this point?
Because I'm committed to
just
drama.
Constantly fear.
This is for
drama. Hell yeah.
Yeah, the TikTokers in that world would probably have great content.
Yeah, I mean, listen, every time they talk about the Daily Bugle, I'm like, okay, that would be my job for sure. I would fit right in.
Get me photos of Spider-Man.
We did have one question, and Kelsey, I do think that you will be the best to answer this since you are our local Morbius expert. One of our patrons asked, I haven't seen this movie, so if you could just please clarify whether, quote, it's Morbin time, unquote, is just a meme, or if it's actually a movie, that would be great.
I'm actually prepared to explain the meme around Morbius.
Great, thank you.
Yes, so Morbius, right after Spider-Man came out, no one really knew what this movie was, but they knew it was part of that universe. So everyone was like, I would say more intrigued than this movie deserved for people to be. So first of all, the name Morbius is just like absolutely terrible. Like when I was trying to explain why this meme is funny to people, I would say because his name is Morbius, and they would say, what else is there to it? And I'm like, I can't. It's a funny name. So in April, when the movie comes out, people start, talking about how it is gonna do so great in the box office, it's gonna be amazing, just making fun of it, and after a while people were calling for a sequel, and they said the next one is gonna be Morbius 2, it's Morbin time. That is not in the movie. Obviously, from what we've talked about, there's nothing cool in this movie at all, and that would have been cool, but that was just like a joke someone had made, and then it began, everyone started talking about it. Eventually there was a Discord for Morbius that started as like hardcore comic book fans, and they got to go to the premiere and meet Jared Leto, and then a bunch of people started joining, and there are all these channels where people are just saying the word morb and nothing else over and over again like 100 times per minute, and that's kind of the spirit around it online. So once people started calling for it to, sweep award season and stuff like that, it became a meme forever. But Morbius obviously didn't do well in the box office until people kind of forgot about it for a few weeks, and like Top Gun came out and everyone was talking about that, and that did really well. So it wasn't, pandemic related. It was just a bad movie. So then when they start talking about Morbius coming out on VOD, people start talking about it again, to the extent that Sony is like, oh, we're gonna re-release it in the theater, in more theaters for a weekend, and that is when the only like canon, I guess, instance of It's Morbin time comes when Jared Leto does a little jokey clip where it shows him like reading a script for Morbius 2, It's Morbin time. And then at that point, the meme just died violently. And it was no
he really
longer
shot
fun.
in the foot, for sure.
When Jared Leto is in on it in any way, that makes it, like, appalling to think about. And, of course, the weekend it was in more theaters, came and went, and it flopped again, which is beautiful. And that's really the last information we've heard about Morbius, I think. So,
wow. It's so delicious. Like, could you imagine? Like, there's no way the guy who created this character of Morbius in the 70s or whatever could imagine a future in which this becomes, because of the name specifically that was chosen for this man / vampire, and how silly it is and how easy it is to meme 50 years later that this becomes what it is. It's so delicious. Right. Like the fact that he just chose
the connections it would have to Power Rangers,
because objectively Morbius is a silly name. It's very silly.
Absolutely. It's goofy.
It's silly. I'm having a silly, goofy time. It's very silly. And there's no way this guy was like, got it, this is perfect. Hell yeah, there's no way this will be taken in any other direction half a century from when I first create this. Like, it's so delicious. I'm obsessed.
Wow. Well, please don't watch this.
Yeah, I mean, go off.
Don't pay for it.
Right. I mean, even as someone who loves it, I would say don't. Don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't. But, you know, there is definitely a distinct time for me of before I had watched Morbius to now.
Yeah, before Morbius and after Morbius.
Yeah. So I'm grateful for that time. When you hear from us next week, we will be celebrating Bella's birthday in the only way that we know how, which is finally doing the director's commentary version of New Moon.
We're back. We're doing it.
And I'm very excited for that. We have some amazing patrons to thank. Cody, would you like to start us off?
Absolutely. Thank you to Katie Black.
Ooh. Thank you to Kylie Minty.
Ooh. Thank you to Alex Dornan.
Ooh. Thank you to Carrie Goldberg.
Ow. Thank you to Rebecca Cullen.
Ooh. Thank you to Jasmine Anastasia.
Ooh. Thank you to Megan Pattinson.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Thank you to Cassandra O'Shea.
O'Shea. Thank you to Clara Belikov.
Ooh. Thank you to Katya Karp.
Thank you to Hannah Dragomir.
Thank you to Hope Castile.
Ooh. Thank you to Rachel Ashford.
Ooh. Thank you to Emerson Kirova.
Ooh. Thank you to Maddie Facinelli.
Ooh. Thank you to Samara Rinaldi.
Ow. Thank you to Genevieve Morgan.
Ooh. Thank you to Tess Avery.
Ooh. Thank you to Danielle Burke.
Ooh. Thank you to my mom, your mom, our mom, Kelly Beck.
Mom. Thank you to Sophia Salinger.
Ooh. Thank you to Laura Forty.
Ooh. Thank you to Dan Zeklos.
Ooh. Thank you to Maria Swan.
Thank you to India Peach.
Ooh. Thank you to Emily Ozera.
Ow. And last but certainly not least, thank you to Jaylene Ivishkov.
Ooh. I am incredibly excited to know what fanfiction you brought to this space, Kelsey.
Oh, thank you so much. I, as a AO3 teen and adult, I was really excited for this assignment. I actually, can I send it to you guys because it's a dialogue? Someone wants to help me read it.
Oh my god.
I'm so excited for Cody to help you with it.
Yep,
wow.
Wow.
You
know what? Cody, you can be... Actually, I don't know who is who, because it does not say. But here, let me explain. So, there's not a lot of Morbius fanfiction in earnest. There's a lot of joke, like, Morbius and Walter White Morbius and, like, horrible random pairings, and it's not, like, in earnest. But I found this, Michael Morbius Bruce Wayne fan fiction
oh my god,
seems to be pretty great. It's called Unexpected by Della Rita, and the notes say, I know the Morbius movie didn't get good critics. I loved it anyway, especially Dr. Morbius with his dark secrets, his inner turmoil, and his relationship to bats. So Batman came to my mind and got my muse going for a bit. So this is an exchange between Batman and Morbius. I do not know who is who because it just has quotations.
It does not specify.
Yeah, so I will read the first one, and Cody, you can be the second person, and then I'll read the description in the middle.
Yeah. All right, let's do it.
Ready? Bats.
They're fascinating.
They're majestic.
They're like vampires.
I was very scared of them as a child.
So was I.
They're my ally now. My lifesavers.
Same for me.
The two men finally look at each other. Piercing blue eyes meeting dark chocolate brown ones. Their winged friends swirling excitedly around them where they're standing shoulder to shoulder in a huge cave. Do you think we could be allies too? Dr. Michael Morbius asked, holding out his hand.
It's worth a try, Bruce Wayne replies, grasping the offered hand tightly in his, holding the unwavering stare of the other.
The end.
Wow.
Do you think that that's Robert's Batman?
The tags don't say. Oh, played by Christian Bale, it says, actually.
Oh, shit.
Damn.
Okay. Could have been a little more gruffly then in that regard.
it-
but also had
it
no
says-
idea who I was
It says,
until the end.
I just wanted to know if Nirvana was playing or not.
Right. It's crucial. Yeah.
well, you should assume, yeah, I think for sure. It also says pre/pre-relationship, in case you're wondering what's to come. I'm not
I love
hopeful.
that the I love
hopeful
the
for
thesis
any
of that
more-
was really just like a yes and, experiment. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, bad, am I right? It's like, yeah, for sure, bestie. Yeah. I love
used to be
it.
afraid of them. But they're
I love
still
that
really
you
nice.
brought an interactive piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, how fun.
Well, I don't want to make fun of Morbius. I do. Nope, actually, forget what I was going to say. I do. But I'm glad someone liked it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so important. Kelsey, where can folks go to support your work on this plane and on other ethereal planes?
Well, fortunately for me, on every plane, I'm the only person in the world named Kelsey Weekman. So if you type that into your favorite social media, you'll find me there. I prefer Twitter. That's where everything is. So just search Kelsey Weekman.
Hell yeah.
I love that. That is amazing. It has been an absolute honor to have you. You're welcome back at any time, whether you want to review movies or books or anything.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
But it has been a joy to have a true expert for once.
Right.
This show.
Finally. Like a scholar.
A reluctant expert. You listen.
Right.
I didn't choose the
It's
Morbius
such a
life.
nice change of pace.
Yes.
Amazing. I love that so much. I am going to go and erase every trace of Morbius from my online history.
Yeah. I'm just gonna throw my
need-
computer away.
I need the internet spaces to know that I don't actually I've never watched it or supported it or anything like that. But until next week, folks, as we say here in the Pacific Northwest,
Get bit.
and get whipped.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Into the Twilight is an Earbud Media production. You can follow us on Twitter at Into the Twilight or on TikTok at Into the Twilight Show. You can find me at Cody Corral on Twitter and Allie at Alexandria Does. And you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Into the Twilight. We have merch, so much stuff. All those links are in the episode description. And make sure to rate and review us on your favorite podcast hosting platform. It really helps the show. Thanks. Bye.
You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media, audio for everyone.